What is going on, Raider Nation? It is JT, and I am here live, talking Raiders, talking silver and black football, and we are here with the first episode of Talk of the Nation, where I will be discussing everything Raiders has happened so far since the last episode, or as I like to say for this first episode, since the last preseason game. And then I'll be getting to your comments and takes from Twitter that I'll be talking here live on the show at the end of the show. So if you dropped a comment, don't forget to stick around to the end of the show and leave a like and subscribe here on YouTube, or give me a follow here on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. Raiders lose this weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. It was a close loss. Honestly, losses don't matter in the preseason. It's pretty obvious. Josh McDaniels, I think we're 5-1 in the preseason with Josh McDaniels, and you saw exactly what that meant. It meant jack shit, because he was an awful coach and we were an awful team under him. Under John Gruden, I don't recall the preseason that well, but it does. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, wins and losses in the preseason do not matter. Now, what I am going to talk about is what we learned about the team throughout this game. And I have 5 takeaways I'm going to talk about right now. Starting off with Minshew mania for me, but also it seems like for a lot of Raider Nation, in full swing. We're talking about Minshew being what to me looks like a better quarterback for us for this season than Aiden O'Connell. Now, I've debated this in my head a lot. The ups and downs, the positives and negatives between the two quarterbacks. And I've arrived to the fact that Minshew has been in some sort of Getsy offense for a long time. He has done this since 2019, since coming in the league, under Doug Peterson, West Coast offense. And then, so for that reason, he looked better on Saturday than Aiden O'Connell. However, Aiden O'Connell still had his positives, and we also didn't see a lot of Aiden O'Connell. We couldn't see a lot of Aiden O'Connell. He wasn't given more than a drive, only because the first quarter was taken up by a 95-yard drive by the Raiders and a really long drive by the Vikings that ended in a turnover for them. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see as much Aiden O'Connell as we did Gardner Minshew, but that should change this Saturday, which should help with the decision. But for me, Minshew rolling out of the pocket, although primarily to the right, which is definitely a major issue, but it's nice to see him roll out to the right. It's nice to see a mobile quarterback under center since Derek Carr in 2016. And I'm not talking about anything past 2016 because Derek Carr was immobile past that time. I plan to have confirmation bias on Saturday versus the Cowboys with Minshew being QB1. And especially when he starts with the ones in the first quarter, which is what is projected and guessed by many people. I don't believe has been confirmed yet, but it is what I believe is going to happen and what many in Raider Nation also believe is going to happen. AOC started this game, Minshew's going to start the next game. Now, him running with the ones will be very interesting to see what this offense looks like with Gardner Minshew out there. We'll also have Devontae Adams back, which is absolutely huge. I do honestly hope they give AOC some reps with Devontae Adams, even if it's not with primarily the ones. I just want to see what it looks like with Devontae Adams out there, as well as the other wide receivers, for Aiden O'Connell to make this fair, which is also probably why it might take until the third preseason game for them to make a full decision. This QB battle is not over, but Minshew, since last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that, with the scrimmage against each other, he looked a lot better than Aiden O'Connell. That's when he took his first step and headed the race. And now this past Saturday, for me anyway, has taken the next step. I definitely feel like that, like I said, Aiden O'Connell looked good too. However, that sack that Andrews Pete did get beat on, he kind of walked into it. He kind of had that lack of awareness of what was happening, and just straight up walked into that sack. So it was definitely disappointing in that sense, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next game. Take numero dos. We have Colton Miller needing to come back as soon as possible. Andrews Pete did better, did all right than expected, but not that good at all. I don't like the fact that we might have to start Andrews Pete if Colton Miller doesn't come back by 2 weeks from now, by the time roster cutdowns happen, because he needs to come off that PUP list. Even if maybe he's not a full go. Maybe if he's just not even in practice until the first preseason game. I'd rather have an unpracticed, seasoned Colton Miller than Andrews Pete starting left tackle against the Chargers. Now, the Chargers D-line is nothing super scary, but it's still a solid enough D-line where Andrews Pete might get beat a lot. Now, if that's the case, throw Gardner Minshew back there, because at least he can run away. If Aiden O'Connell's back there, he might die. But DJ Glaze was really solid at right tackle, but not so good at left tackle. Thayer, however, was much better at left tackle than Andrews Pete on Saturday. When he was moved there from right tackle to left tackle when DJ Glaze came in for right tackle, Thayer Munford put up a really good showing, and that should be the lineup if Colton Miller's a no-go or if he gets injured again. Give me Thayer at left tackle, Glaze at right tackle, and we should be fine. And the O-line should be much, much better once Miller gets back. Even though it wasn't that bad Saturday, but it was going against a very, very weak Vikings pass rush, in my opinion. There's a reason why that Brian Flores has to create so many exotic looks and so many blitzes is because they can't naturally get any pressure on the quarterback with 4 rushers, unlike the Raiders and Patrick Graham's defense. They have a much more weak pass rush than we do, despite the fact that they got a lot of sacks. It was also against our really backup O-line and Anthony Brown, who looked fucking awful. I'll also say that. He looked fucking awful. Now, another thing that is going to be really fun to watch is the pass catchers. Brock Bowers coming out of the fullback position and catching a pass out of the backfield. Just so dynamic as a player. It's absolutely incredible he fell to 13. If there wasn't so many QB needy teams, I think he goes top 10, maybe even closer to top 5. He's just that good of a playmaker, and I think we saw a lot of that 12 personnel with Mayer, who's going to be a great complement to Bowers. Honestly, Bowers is not that good of a blocker, while Mayer is. And Bowers is a much better offensive weapon overall than Mayer, but Mayer is still a really fucking good pass catcher. We saw that incredible catch that I tweeted about in training camp, that he's just, can catch the ball so well. He's such a big tight end, and he's going to be super exciting to watch along with Bowers and 12 personnel. And Jacoby Myers, picking up where he left off. I see your boy Q talking about this all the time. Jacoby Myers is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, and I absolutely agree. He's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. He had 800 yards, well over 800 yards last season. He had a ton of receptions, and he had so many touchdowns, not just receiving, but also passing and rushing. He was a dynamic gadget player. He was fantastic in the offense last year, and I can't wait to see what happens with him in 12 personnel. You have Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers. You have Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer as like the 1-2 punches. You have 4 punches coming at you. How are you going to guard that as a defense? It's going to be really hard, and it's also really exciting to see these pass catchers. And then even beyond that, Trey Tucker, his hands look so much better than they did in camp. I mean, to be fair, he only had to catch 2 balls on I think maybe 3 total targets. So we didn't get to see, the possible issues of his hands. However, here's the big however. Trey Tucker is a really good deep threat. He's going to be scary for defenses no matter what. He's not going to be like a Tyreek Hill scary. Not by a long shot. But he's definitely going to be an issue for that free safety. He's going to take possibly 2 people with him just because of that speed. You don't want him one-on-one, because if he gets behind the defender and he has the off chance or even the high chance of catching it, that's going to be a touchdown. Even with Gardner Minshew's weaker arm, but with Aiden O'Connell's cannon of an arm, which everyone's quarterback won at that time, it is going to be a touchdown if he gets behind the defense. So that will open up the field for Devontae Adams, for Jacoby Myers, for Brock Bowers, for Michael Mayer. And then you also have DJ Turner and Jalen Guyton looking really solid for that wide receiver 1 position. I'm really excited for these pass catchers. It's just, can we figure out if we have a quarterback? Do we have a quarterback that can throw them the ball? And for that, I have no clue. So yeah, this is a very exciting pass catching group, and moving on to another exciting part is the starting defense. Everyone's talking about blah blah blah, the defense looks bad, blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. The starting defense is going to be special. Look what they did when they had all their starters out there. Even some of the starting secondary stayed out there for a little bit longer than the pass rushers, because it's a little bit easier and less wear and tear on the body for corners than pass rushers. But Jack Jones, just like Jacoby Myers, picking up where he left off from last season, making plays on the ball, being an absolute lockdown corner. And it is just super, super fun to see him in that backfield. Picking off balls caused by pressures. They also were just, overall the defense was dominant. They got a 4th down stop on the 4-yard line. Now, it's not great that they got down to the 4-yard line, and it's a really high percentage chance that most teams score there. However, it doesn't matter because 0 points went up on that board. Ja'Cory Bennett got a great pass breakup in the back of the end zone and had a turnover and downs. And our offense was to go the length of the field and get 3 points. Now, it should have been 7, but could have, would have, should have. Now, there was also a result of the Spillane pressure, who didn't grade out very well on PFF, which PFF, take it or leave it, however you like to look at it. I usually like them, but I think Spillane, I don't really look at the starters' PFF grades too much unless it's like visibly concerning. I didn't see anything visibly concerning from Spillane, so I'm taking that with a grain of salt. But I did see a play where he made a really good play on a pressure from Spillane. So that was a very, very good defensive play from the starters. Now, backups, on the other hand, they're rough. That's takeaway number 5. My final takeaway of the game is both sides of the ball, the backups, the depth is rough. And that is one of the biggest concerns for a Tom Telesco-led team is depth. The Chargers historically have had 0 depth. As soon as the star goes down, they're fucked. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen going down last season, and Quentin Johnson sucks. Justin Herbert goes down, and they don't have a quarterback worth a damn back there. They have Corey Linsley go down, and their entire O-line falls apart. They have players on defense go down, and they completely fall apart. So it is definitely an issue for a Tom Telesco team of the depth, all that good stuff. So we saw that on display on Saturday. The DBs look absolutely lost. They got torched by J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings offense. Now, again, I'm talking about 3rd and 4th stringers. I'm talking about rookies, undrafted free agents, players fighting for a career, for a job in the NFL. And they just did look lost. Patrick Mahomes' defense, albeit, is a very tough defense. We saw it in year 1. Players looked lost at there sometimes, and it's a very interesting scheme. And he has dumbed it down. He's learned that he needs to maybe take it down a notch. Even so, they still look lost. Linebackers were not as bad as the DBs. I guess our just backup DBs are just not that good. MJ Devonshire, who I'm going to talk about in just a second, really looked lost. He really stuck out to me. And the pass rush was also non-existent outside of Ron Stone Jr. And I'm going to get to that in a second as well. But overall, the backup O-line looked really bad. Anthony Brown looked fucking awful. The pass catchers looked bad, but also because Anthony Brown looked bad. Sincere McCormick was mid at best. He had 11 carries for 28 yards or 32 yards for 2.9 yards per carry with a long of 17. So you take away that one long rush, and he was atrocious this past game. And you just had Britton Brown doing absolutely nothing. He's been a camp body for the last 1 to 2 years or whatever it was. And overall, the backup of the rushing was not good. The starting rushing was fine. The backup, once those backup O-line came in and those backup running backs came in, just not a good scene. Even Dylan Lowry struggled, who was supposed to succeed in camp. He had a longest rush of 13, and he ended up with only 8 total yards. That just shows how bad the O-line played, and also possibly how bad he played. But we'll see more of that on Saturday. I'm not going to get too high or too negative on really anything that we saw on Saturday because it is so much in flux. However, that is just some takeaways I had from the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Minnesota Vikings on Saturday. Now is time for the stock gainers and the stock losers, and we're going to start off with the losers. Now, that sounds very harsh, and again, this is preseason. These are guys fighting for their jobs, and I don't want to root against anyone. I'm just pointing out what I have observed. MJ Devonshire, like I just mentioned, terrible performance. Now, is this going to make or break his career as a NFL corner? No. But it just shows that MJ Devonshire is not ready for the season. He's going to be stashed in the practice squad, if maybe picked up by someone else, but he's going to be on the practice squad. developing. He needs more development. He just looked lost. Perfect passer rating when targeted. 50 yards allowed of receiving. A touchdown allowed on a massive throw. And just a bad performance. Just super lost out there. And it was just not good. The next loser is Tyree Wilson. And I tweeted this out. Ron Stone Jr. looked better than Tyree Wilson on Saturday. He's been invisible. A 10th overall pick is not supposed to be invisible at any point in their career. If you're picked 10th overall, you're supposed to be a force on the field. You're supposed to be a top 10 possible player at your position if you're picked 10th overall in the draft. And he has not been that. The 7th overall pick from the 2023 draft posted a 53.4 PFF grade and just overall did not do well at all. No pressures, no anything. He got no stats out of that game. And it's just baffling. Even in camp, I think I remember seeing one tweet of him getting 1 sack the entire camp. And this dude is a fucking beast of a person. He's massive. He's a huge guy. And he should not be struggling the way he is. He has no pass rush moves. He's slow off the line. He has so many issues. It's very not... It's worrying. I'm truly worried about his progress as an NFL player. I don't want to be too down on him, and I've been very down on him in many videos in the past. And that is just because I want the Raiders to succeed. I want him to succeed as an NFL player. But most importantly, I want the Raiders to succeed, and it's seeming like he is not succeeding right now. And I don't want to even give the excuse he needs more time. Yes, this is his first true offseason. He needs to show more as a 10th overall pick. He's had an entire year to learn. He was thrown into the fire last year. Yes, he had foot surgery. Yes, he missed the entire training camp last year because of that foot injury. At this point, he needs to figure it out. He's either going to figure it out this year or I don't think ever really going to figure it out. You can't just go into year 2 after so many chance after chance and still be this invisible. And it sucks because he's a quiet guy. Haven't heard bad things about him. He's not a bad teammate. He's not lazy. He's not any of those things. He's just not what we are hoping for. And hopefully that happens this year. So we shall see. Maybe he'll make me bite my tongue come the season starts. But we shall see. And my third loser of Saturday is Andrew Pete. I talked about him at the beginning of the episode, but he's a vet that looked not that good. He got beat. Andrew Pete got beat many times. 33.4 pass blocking grade. That is atrocious. Absolutely awful. When he's one of the options for left tackle outside of Colton Miller, it's not looking good for him. I don't want to see him unless it's an emergency. Unless Thayer Munford also goes down and we need to throw him. We need to throw him in at left tackle. Because I don't want to see him in a game. If we see him in a game, whoever's at quarterback is going to die. Unless for some reason he just absolutely just had one bad game. Maybe he just had one bad game with 2 pressures allowed, 1 sack allowed, and 1 hit allowed. Who knows? But yeah, it's not looking good for Andrew Pete. Now, to end off on a much higher note, we have the gainers from Game 1. The people, the players that impressed me the most, and someone that is always going to be dear to my heart. The sexiest man on the team. The definition of a MILF hunter. Better than Zach Wilson, Gardner Minshew. In my opinion, pulled away in the QB1 battle. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, and 1 handoff to Zamir White. He also had 1 more drive that ended in a field goal, so 3 scoring drives out of Gardner Minshew. Now, he was going against the 2s and the 3s and the Vikings, but he put on a fantastic performance, in my opinion. And then, you also have some beautiful throws. He had that nice little flick of the wrist, pressure right in his face. He got drilled right after releasing the ball to DJ Turner. Threw an absolute dime. He also threw some dimes to Trey Tucker. I mean, he was slinging it. And he can run it. He can run with the ball. He picked up in a crucial 3rd and 7 with his legs. Aiden O'Connell is not doing that with the speed that he did it, with the way he did it. He's not escaping pressure and running for a first down for 7+ yards the way Gardner Minshew just did. And that is why he's QB1 for me. We need a quarterback with a little bit, just a little bit of mobility, a little bit of possibility of making something happen, which is the whole Minshew Mania thing. He would run around, sling balls, running for touchdowns. You saw with the Colts last year too. And he's working with a probably 10 times better pass catching group than he is last year. A better O-line than he is last year. A better running game overall than last year. He's dealing with a better team overall, and I think Gardner is finally going to find a successful NFL season outside of what he did in Jacksonville. Even in Jacksonville, he had impressive moments, but he struggled because they had a bad team around him. And then he went to Philly, sat there for 2 years behind Jalen Hurts, all that, yada, yada. I had one really good game with them, one bad game with them, and we'll get that. I'm not saying he's a perfect quarterback. He is not the next Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. We know who Gardner Minshew is. He is a solid journeyman quarterback who's going to get us to the finish line. He almost did for the Colts last year, and it was a pass that was not his fault. Running back dropped it. Would have ended the game, would have sent them to the playoffs. His running back dropped it. Gardner got them there when Anthony Richardson was hurt with a banged-up O-line, no Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman as his only real wide receiver option. They had no tight ends. They didn't have tight ends like Brock Bowers on their team or Michael Mayer. They didn't have Devontae Adams or Jacoby Myers on their team or a speedster like Trey Tucker. No, he was working with Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, and they almost won the playoffs. And a much better defense than the Colts had last year. This is why Gardner Minshew was QB1. Anyway, got a little off track with there. But DJ Turner is another gainer. Gainer number 2, DJ Turner. He's wide receiver 4 for me. I've seen people say Jalen Guyton. No. Give me DJ Turner. He's been grinding on a practice squad for years, playing on special teams. Had great special teams last year. He has earned this spot. He ran with the 1s. He ran with the 2s. He wasn't running with the 3s and the 4s, primarily. He was running with the 1s and the 2s. He was that guy, albeit Devontae Adams was out. But sometimes there'll be injuries. But he proved that he should be out there. He had just great plays. Touchdown catch was beautiful. Great route runs. He's great on special teams. And what more can you ask for from a wide receiver 4? He's not going to be an 1,000-yard receiver. He's not going to have 12 touchdowns. He's not going to have 100 receptions. He's not even going to have probably 50 receptions. Probably ever in a season in his career. But he's going to be reliable when you need him most. And I think he earned that spot on the 53-man roster as wide receiver 4. Not wide receiver 5, not wide receiver 6, not a special teams guy, wide receiver 4. Behind Trey Tucker, behind Devontae Adams, behind Jacoby Myers. Now, a gainer, the final gainer, is Amari Gainer, the 3rd gainer for me. And, I mean, it's a minute. He's a gainer. But he earned a 90.6 PFF grade. If you know anything about PFF grades, that is an elite number. Anything 90 and above, 89, 88 and above, is elite play. Like, he played like an elite linebacker on Saturday. He was, I believe, going against maybe the lesser of the, opponent, 3s and the 4s. But that doesn't matter. He played with the competition he was given and posted elite stats. And if you're posting elite stats against like 3s and 4s, you earn your spot to play with the 2s next game. And you're playing with the 2s and you're posting really good stats, you're looking really good, you know the defense, you get your opportunity to run with a little bit of 1s. As a backup role, as a spot player. Very, very impressive from the undrafted free agent linebacker. Rookie, by the way. Maybe Antonio Pierce knows his linebackers. Now, that is all I have. That is my 5 takeaways from the game. That is my 3 losers. That is my 3 gainers. And now it is to hear from you, Raider Nation. I tweeted out and I got some responses, and I hope to get more for next season, next episode. So don't forget, when you see those posts, comment. Leave a comment on this one, on this video. Leave a comment on the posts I post. DM me your takes. Send me your stuff. And don't forget to follow me and like and subscribe as well. And follow me on TikTok as well for more content. But definitely give me your takes. I want to hear them. I want to talk about it. I want to talk to you guys. That is what's most important to me. So, Mad Max Truther at WXB King on X says, I believe we will run a QB by committee this season, and both QBs will have multiple starts during the season. That is a very interesting theory. And it is a theory that I don't know if it would quite work at the NFL level, but you look at Gardner Minshew. He is the prototypical escape artist, make backyard football, make plays with his legs, make plays with his arms, improvisation, all that good stuff. He's a little Mahomes in that sense. He's a little Mahomes. Now, he's not Patrick Mahomes. Don't twist those words. But he's a little Mahomes in the way he plays. He's that backyard sense of football, and just Patrick Mahomes is about 100 times better than he does. And you have, on the flip side, Aiden O'Connell, who is your quintessential pocket passer. You have the magician, and you have the mechanical robot of Aiden O'Connell. He'll dink and dunk. He'll make big plays with his arms, but he won't really move in that pocket. He'll step up. He'll move to the side, move to the right, but he's not moving out of that pocket. Unless he needs to, absolutely have to. But he wants to stay in that pocket. He wants to stay nice and clean and just deliver on time, on strikes, accurate balls. And you literally can take bits and pieces from those quarterbacks and go Dragon Ball Z fusion it into a perfect quarterback. The legs of Gardner Minshew, the backyard style of Gardner Minshew, combined with the arm talent and the accuracy with Aiden O'Connell. I mean, that's just Josh Allen at that point, and that would be beautiful. So, while that theory, probably not practical, I like where your head's at. I think we have the bits and pieces of perfect quarterback for the modern NFL, but we just don't have one. Because if you have two QBs, you have none. And we need to figure out our one. Great comment. I appreciate you, Mad Max Truther. And I'm also a Mad Max Truther, so shout out to you. Next up, Jackpot Jones at Jackpot Jones 18 on X says, when do you think JPJ gets a starting spot? Fantastic question. When he gets back from his concussion and he is ready. Could be this season. Could be next season. It could be week 1 if they think he's ready. I'm not quite sure his timeline. I want to say halfway through this year. That is probably my final answer. Is he's probably going to get the starting spot halfway through this year. We're going to roll with Cody White here, as I believe someone commented underneath him as well. Cody playing well, I wouldn't rush JPG back, and that is from Z at Just Baffling on X, BAFFLING. I also wouldn't rush JPG back. Cody White here, played in the system, 10-year vet, Pro Bowler, I believe maybe second team All-Pro somewhere in there. He'll be fine at left guard for us. He's like our Van Roten type of player from last year. He's just a plug-in vet who's going to do just enough to not suck. And he'll probably do that, and then JPG comes in, he gets to learn the offense, get himself acclimated, and then boom, he's off and running and the best left guard in football. That's quite a prediction, but it could happen. And then finally, our final comment is from PT at ASAP__PT on X saying, and this is a great one, dream blunt rotation of current Raiders / coaches. Now, of course, you gotta start off with Gardner Minshew, who is the quintessential looking pothead of he's got the hair, he's got the van, he just, the mustache, he just seems like he'd be the perfect guy to just relax, chill back, just puff and pass. Probably tells the funniest stories, probably has the greatest snacks recommendations for while we're a little high on the mountaintops. And then I will throw in, you gotta throw in Rob Ryan too. I'm thinking the hair. I don't know why I'm thinking the long hair, but Rob Ryan, I'm sure would be hilarious high. I'm sure he'd be so funny. And then I'm gonna throw in Devontae. I don't think he smoked. He might smoke. Who knows? I don't like to assume. But Devontae Adams, I feel like he also has long hair. So maybe it's just the long hair for me. We could just picture it better. But Devontae Adams high is probably the most chill motherfucker out there, and he's probably so fun to be around when high. And I got to run Max Crosby just because that'd be fantastic to be high with Max Crosby and just laughing and having a good time. So, great comment question. And I want to hear you guys down in the comments, or let me know who your dream blunt rotation of current NFL players and coaches is, because I think that's a fantastic question. Thank you, PT. Shout out to all three of you guys for leaving your comments down below. And what's up, Trollface? How are we doing today? I will see you next time. Shout out the Raiders. Peace out. But yes, that is the conclusion of this show. I appreciate every single one of you for joining this show. It's a bit of a long one, but I'll be posting clips and bits throughout the week from this show. So if you want to see a certain section of the show, it'll be up there. But don't forget to like and subscribe for more Unfiltered Silver Block content. Don't forget to follow me on X, on TikTok, because I always put content all out there. And I hope you guys have a very fun and safe day, night, wherever you are. And peace out, Raider Nation.